welcome. And we are extremely happy to have you guys here on, Thursday, July the 2nd for our, 7th episode of the Police Softball Podcast. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We've got a wonderful show today. It's a extra special show because I truly enjoy, of course, the game that we play, police softball. I love it. And there's that competitive aspect to the game, high level of softball that takes place. But family is extremely important when it comes to our environment within the police softball world. And so today's show is the family edition. So we're going to have some great guests that are going to be joining us from that perspective. And then we're going to have the umpires perspective. I know, everybody kind of thinks that the umpires are, just supposed to be everywhere, doing everything. And we've got somebody that's very well respected in our circuit that's joining us here today to give us a little insight on how he gets as close as possible to that expectation. But from his perspective, the game that we all love, he's joining us here today, and I'm really excited about that. So, hey, tell you what, thank you very much. Donnie, thank you so much for joining us. We've got a great show, so we're going to get on the road. One thing I want you to know is who I am before we get started. I am Trinidad. I have been a member of our armed forces. I retired from the military. A 23-year law enforcement veteran. I'm a two-time cancer survivor. We own a franchise business called Biotex, and we're excited about marketing nationwide for our franchises. We're based out of San Antonio, but we're in Dallas and Houston. Real happy with our business, and also a nonprofit founder in Shields for Kids. So Shields for Kids is an organization that gives officers an opportunity to go off in their off-duty time and to be able to provide for kids in the community that are in need. And one of the emphases that we put on our gives is it's our off-duty time, on our own dime and on our own time when we're going out there and providing these gives for these families. So I'm extremely proud of our organization, Shields for Kids. Now, when it comes to police softball, I am the coach of the San Antonio Law men's competitive softball team. We're two-time national titles. I was a Chevy Wright Sportsman of the Year in 2017. I was very happy to be awarded the Pat Hill Inspiration Award in 2016. And I am a member of the Texas Police Athletic Foundation and the PS.com Hall of Fame. So I'm really, really proud of those accolades within the sport that I love. So, all right, so that's who I am. If you want to find out how you can tune in to this show and to the other podcasts that we have a Keepers of the Peace podcast, and then we've got, of course, this one, the Police Softball podcast, and we're getting ready to start our Trinidad podcast. And so if you want to get more information on those things, what you can do is go to our YouTube channel. It's at Trinidad. You put in my name there. You're going to go to the filter. You're going to hit the channel, go to my vacation photo there where I'm chillaxing. Then you're going to hit subscribe. It's going to be a notification bell on the right. You want to, once you hit that top notification bell for all, and then you'll be notified of everything. And go to that YouTube channel, do everything we just told you to do, and share our channel with 10 of your friends. If you can do that, you're going to be registered to win a Chris Vector. It's a cool gun. It's never been fired. It's unique. And so I'm excited. I'm excited for somebody to win that by just going and supporting our channel. So on that note, one thing I do want to share with you is that we have an exciting conference. If you go listen to our podcast, Keepers of the Peace podcast, it's all surrounded towards our conference. So we have the International Keepers of the Peace First Responders Conference coming to San Antonio, April the 12th through the 14th. It's a badass conference with badass breakout sessions for police, fire, military, and EMTs, and especially for one of our guests. I want to let you know that we have corrections officers that are going to be able to attend this conference, along with jailers and also make sure you come out, you join us, you're part of our first responder family. We have some really neat breakout sessions, and the purpose of this conference is to provide these guys with some really cool breakout sessions that everybody loves, like working out and shooting with the SAPD competition team. We're going to have a 5K. That's a very special 5K. We'll explain it later. We're going to have a softball tournament. That's in the talks right now. The softball tournament is going to coincide with our conference. And as soon as the conference is over, we start our big celebration here in San Antonio, and that is the Fiesta. So Fiesta San Antonio. So again, this is in April 12th through the 14th, 2021. All right, cool. So one of the things I want to touch on is one of the people that we met with today, George and Annalisa Chavez, with Viciously Loyal. And I told him I'd do a little flexing for him on that. Hey, it's a wonderful brand, and I can tell you about it, but it's all surrounded around being viciously loyal. We're all viciously loyal to something. And, their motto is about faith, family, and service. But again, anything that you've got that you're viciously loyal, this brand works with you. They're going to be at our conference, but let me give you a little sneak peek as to what they're all about.
Viciously loyal is whatever matters to you. Whatever you stand up for, lay it down for, your persona, what you've walked your entire life, that's what you're viciously loyal to, whether it's your faith, your family, your service. You take care of yourself, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and that dude or woman next to you is going to take care of you. I'm here because I honor you, and I'm here to protect you, and I'm here to help you through this endeavor. You do not have to wear a uniform. You do not have to stand on your little footprints. You don't have to carry a gun to be in service. And if I could preach one thing, is to tell everybody, trust me when I say that if you serve, you will benefit in life.
Yeah, man, that gets you all hyped up. So Viciously Loyal, again, is going to be at our Keepers of the Peace conference. But we got something special in the works. We met with them today, and there's a big name. We're hoping to bring him in for one of our breakout sessions. When I say big, I'm not understating that. It's a big name, and we're going to have some talks here soon. That's going to be really neat. We can make that happen with their help. So we're looking forward to that, along with our sponsor, Biotex. Biotex, my wife surprised me with a 4-star sponsorship to the conference. So we're really excited about that. It was really cool. There's a lot of perks that come with that sponsorship. We have different sponsorship levels. There they are, but you can always go to our website at keepersofthepeace.com, and you'll be able to find out about those sponsorship opportunities for this target audience of yours. So visit that, keepersofthepeace.com. All right. I think we're ready to go. All right, so this is the family edition, but before we get going, I need to introduce you to my co-host, my right-hand man, the guy who helps me to steer this ship. I want to introduce to you Joe Monahan. What's going on, Joe?
What's up, Trini? How's it going, bud?
Man. Hey, thank you for joining me. I know you're busy. I know you took a little break from your activities today. Joe is the coach of the Missouri Lawmen. He's a director of the St. Louis Show Me Classic that we'll be attending here soon. He is also a home run derby champion. He wouldn't tell me about the other home run derbies that he's won, but I know he won the 2017 Texas Showdown Home Run Derby Championship. So yeah, that's a little bit about Joe, man. But thank you so much, man. I'll tell you what, Joe, I do sincerely appreciate you. I think you've got, how many days in a row of working?
39 a night.
Whew. 39 days in a row of working, with everything that's going on. So, hey, we really do appreciate your service, man. And thank you so much for putting it out there for all of us.
Appreciate that, bud.
Cool, man. Hey, all right. So, and I know how important family is to our circuit.
Yes, sir.
So we have these wonderful families that are joining us here today. I want you to be able to tell me what you've seen over the years when it comes to your tournament in particular, and the people that come to it that bring family.
A lot of, I think a lot, not just my tournament, but just tournaments in general. The police circuit, they seem to be more of a family event. There's always players that bring their families. my players bring. They're obviously in St. Louis. They're constantly, out there helping us, get things done. They're there to support the tournament, help the fundraiser out and everything like that. Selling T-shirts or raffle tickets or whatever, handing out drinks. But when we go on the road, they we show up as a family as well. Kids, wives, girlfriends, everyone's welcome and everyone shows up and supports the team. We go out to team dinners. Near every tournament we're out of town, we're at a team dinner. Kids, wives, girlfriends are all there. It's a good time to get away from the everyday life as a police officer and get out there and enjoy some time with the family and your friends as well. And that's what it's about for a lot of us on my team.
So you're talking about families like this?
You got it, my man.
Is that what you're talking about? Hey,
good looking family.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. I'll tell you what. So on that note, Joe, I'm sorry. I'm gonna give that stage to them. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do is when we typically go to St. Louis, it just works out where it's usually like not too many of SA Law is able to take their families. We do here and there, but this one year that I was able to, man, we had a great time out there in St. Louis. There's so much to see. And it's great to be able to have that family come along. They usually go with us to all the tournaments. They look forward to it. But I'm going to go ahead and let them, touch on that. So we'll get right back with you, Joe.
Okay.
All right, man. So, hey, this is my family. This is my wife, Audrey. Well, I got my two boys that are out of the house. But here with me at the house is my wife, Audrey. Yeah. It's my son, Raphael. We call him Trip. He's the third. And then we got my little girl, Aviana. Yeah. So what I want to do is want to be able to just unscripted. Go ahead and let everybody know, what does police softball mean to you guys? Since you guys have been at the field since you were 2 weeks old. Yeah, 2 weeks old. Audrey, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, police softball is exactly. It really is another family. It's my second family. So when my kids were born, I took them out there when they were 2 weeks old. Some people might say that that's a little early, but my older sister did it with her kids and it didn't hurt them. They enjoyed it even at that young age. They just grew up around it. So everybody was used to seeing me with the kids there. I'd bring a stroller, I'd bring a playpen, and they grew up there on the field. So everybody knew them, and it was just awesome. It was awesome for me. It was awesome for the other mothers that played with them. And I mean, Trip was like maybe 5 years old. I remember one year I don't remember which tournament it was, but one of the players won a medal and he said, I'd like to present it. And he called my son out there. I mean, it really is awesome like that. Even if you're playing against each other, at the end of the day, it really is one big family.
Yeah. So
I absolutely love it. I really look forward to it every year. We were just at a tournament last week.
Yeah.
Was it last week? Mm-hmm. And I told my husband, I'm sitting there and I'm just soaking it in. It's like I'm home again because I missed everybody because of the situation we're in with COVID. And I understand it and I respect it because we all want to keep each other safe. But it gave us an opportunity to get back out there, out in the sun. And I got to see some of the guys that I haven't seen in a while. So for me, without a doubt, absolutely my second family.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Trip, you've been out at the fields like we talked about since you were 2 years old. What is 2 weeks old. What is your opinion? What do you feel about police softball?
I like that it's a safe environment, but it's also an environment where I can go and support my dad's friends and yell and scream. And it's just fun to be around. Everyone's really kind and nice. And I've enjoyed all the players and what they've done for not only my dad, but for me and helping me practice. And they always do some batting practice with me. And police softball is just like a way. It's like going to like Disney World or something. That's what it feels like.
Why does it feel like that?
Because it's not like an experience that you can get anywhere else. You
Great
can only
point.
get this there at that moment, especially like the tournament in Vegas.
Yeah,
It's true.
Very good. I like it.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Ralph, thanks for joining us, man. Avi, why don't you tell us, what police softball means to you?
To me, it really is a second family. Like my mom said, we've been there since we were like 2 weeks old. So I've grown up knowing a lot of people on the circuit. So they're like old family members. And then the people that come in are like new family members. And everybody really gets along. And when we do have run-ins, like every family does, it just brings everybody closer together. So I've always enjoyed it and felt safe there and enjoy seeing everybody.
And that's key too, feeling safe there, because we are safe. And when I'll bring my sister or my niece, they go once and from that point on, it's in their calendar for the World Series. It's like I get to see everybody again. So, and hang out with the wives, the SA Law wives I get to talk to my friends. They're my friends. So
And the dogs. Everybody has dogs that they bring to tournaments.
Yeah. All right. So,
or one other thing, or if we head to Canada for a Disney trip, we had to go through Canada, and his Canadian connection,
which will be coming up here soon.
Yes. It's like, hey, I've got to see you guys. Let's have dinner. So we get to go and have dinner with them. It's just awesome. Nothing like it. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, John Irvin, thank you for joining us, man. Brandon West, we appreciate it. Albert, always Sanchez for tuning in, man. Thank you so much for your support. We've got Anthony Costanzo along. Bianca, how's it going? Adam Sada.
Adam.
Yeah, we just left Waxahachie in a tournament. It was a great field.
It was awesome. He's talking trash to Trip.
Yeah.
My number one Yankee fan.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what is it that with the current state of affairs, the way that things are going and all, what would you say to people who maybe have never been to a police softball tournament or maybe not even gone to Vegas? Like, what is the outstanding feeling that you get when you go to Vegas? Or I know we obviously know in a police softball tournament, but in Vegas in particular, with all the
Like
ceremonies, the presentations and all. What are you? Tripp's wearing a Hall of Fame jersey that they brought up last year. What would you say is your favorite thing about going to Vegas for a team that maybe has never been there, and maybe they're thinking like, hey, well, make a family vacation out of this?
It was our first time, 6 years ago?
13.
13 years ago?
No, I'm sorry, 2013.
Oh, 2013.
Yeah.
Okay. It was our first time, and I didn't know what to expect, but it is a great, if you're thinking about it, you're on the fence, I really highly encourage you to go out there, because you're going to see, it puts you you're no longer in a small area. You're up against a lot of big boys. You see some great players, and they help to bring out the best in you. And everybody's so friendly. Everybody gets along. So I highly encourage it. I love it. My kids love it.
Kids?
I feel like it's the part that everybody's been working towards. And once you get there, you know that all the other teams have been working for it, and y'all can all compete and then have a great time afterwards, and all the kids can play and everybody can just be together in a cool place.
Yeah.
And the like background's really pretty with the mountains and everything.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Each field.
Yeah. Trip was it was really neat because he was able to throw out the first pitch at the year that I was able to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And so, Trip, what do you feel about the opening ceremonies, or when we're there and we're recognizing maybe some officers that have fallen? What kind of feeling do you get?
A feeling I can't really explain. It's like it's the same feeling I get every time I go there, but I can't explain that feeling because I don't. It's just like a good feeling. It's just like a really good feeling. I like that. It's a different experience every time, and I know that I'm not going to be let down. I think that the tournament's really well run, and the time I have there is always a good time.
Yeah, and there you have it. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. We do appreciate it. I'll tell you what, very happy that you guys have made my family feel so special and so warm and so welcome whenever we show up to these tournaments, because it's things that happen when I'm not even around that my family tells me that you guys do for them. We're talking wives, other kids. You guys really have, in all these years of police softball, have really made such an impact on me and my family. And so I want to thank you so much for that. Truly, truly do.
Thank you guys. Look forward to seeing you, hopefully all of you, in October. Hopefully they allow it, and I'm looking forward to it. And until then, stay safe and stay healthy. Please stay healthy.
Yeah, very cool.
See y'all.
All righty. So, all right. So let's see here. We got Danny Woods, who's joining us. Police softball is the best. Bianca, our police softball family is definitely one of our favorite group of friends. We all look forward to spending time and catching up. Got Jason, Dan Potter, you are for sure a part of the family, even when you don't give me strike calls. Yeah. All right. So Joe, pretty cool stuff there, eh?
No doubt, man. No doubt. Love your family, man. The one thing about Vegas is great for family, but make sure you keep those kids off Fremont after 10 p.m.
Oh yeah. Man, the same people that are working at 10 p.m. are like they're at 10 a.m. when I'm going to eat breakfast. Dude, when do y'all get a break? But yeah.
They're hard workers, man. They're hard workers.
All right. So we've got our next family that's joining us. I'm excited for this family. This guy's been around for a long time. And there was an extra special story when I contacted, I talked to Joe about, who we might have on the show. And I talked to Jeff Blair, of course, one of the founders, along with Dell of the PS.com circuit. And so I want to just bring this guy on board. I'll tell you that his family has been around police softball for a very long time. And it was neat what Jeff told me about this guy's family. We're going to bring on Lyle Reyes. What's going on, man?
Good. How are you?
All right. Excellent, man. Hey, so we're talking to Lyle. Lyle is the manager of the Nitro Hitman. He is the 2013 Chevy Wright winner. That's for sportsmanship. It's a great award to win. So congratulations on that, man. And you've got your family with you. You want to introduce your family for us?
I got my beautiful wife, Kristen, of 26 years.
All right.
My mini-me right here, Luke. So
yeah.
55.
Yeah, very cool. Well, hey, so tell everybody about, where you're from, your team, and then ultimately, Christian, we want to hear from Christian, of course, and Luke about, what their feelings are when it comes to police softball.
I worked for the San Bernardino PD for 29 years. I retired in 2018. So right now I'm just enjoying retirement, but I still manage the team. They couldn't pry me away from it. I know that if I would have stepped away from the team would have folded. So I didn't want that. I mean, I've got so many good friends and they're all family to me. So I wanted to keep that going for as long as I could.
We need guys like you in the circuit wanting to keep it together like that,
Yeah, thanks. It's hard, it's tough, but I just love it. I love being around everybody. Like I said, my team, I took over when I first started in 92 when I started playing police softball. I played and I was like the new guy. And then I didn't want to beat anybody out of the veterans that were there. So I would just come in and fill in when they needed me. And then eventually they were like, why are you sitting on the bench? I said, I don't want to do anybody wrong. So then I ended up starting and that team fell apart. It was San Bernardino. It was our station team and I took over that team. And then guys just went their separate ways. So then I went to, I don't know if you guys remember Dirty Purdue.
Yeah.
It was Dirty Purdue. So then I ended up on that team. And then that team, I ended up taking over that team. And then guys went their separate ways. So then I still want to play. I had guys that want to play. So I went out looking for sponsors. And I ended up with Nitro to Go, which is an energy drink. And I met them on an alarm call. I went to their business for an alarm call. And I said, hey, who's the owner here? And he told me. So I talked to him. And he said, yeah, nobody's ever asked us. So we developed a relationship with them, and they've been sponsoring us for years now. And I've got another great police attorneys that are our sponsors too. But we started Nitro to Go, and we've been going ever since. I mean, since I think I started Nitro to Go maybe 2010, 2011, and we've been going since. So.
Yeah, awesome, man. It's difficult when to manage a team on all the aspects of managing a team, what goes on behind the scenes. And so, like I mentioned before, we're all gonna have to get together in Vegas and share a drink together, share some stories, let some stuff out that nobody else can understand. So let me ask you, man. So Kristen, so we've got a unique name for Luke, or an AKA kind of name. Can you explain that to us? For Luke?
Trying to think of what it is.
55 and a half.
Oh, what the guys call you?
Yeah.
55
Yeah.
and a half?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this boy has grown up at the ball field. All my kids, much like your family, when they were infants, they were out there already. And I can't tell you how many dinners this boy has had at the ball field, more than I'd like to admit, but we have spent so many weekends and birthdays and Mother's Days and anniversaries around police softball, and that's just been the way our life is. This boy has always stuck to Lyle's side, and he feels like he's a part of the team. Though he can't play, he says he's part of that team. He is one of the players on that team, but he's either flipping the coin with the umpires, or he's right there in the dugout. And so the guys on the team ended up making him a uniform, just an exact replica of Lyle's uniform when he was real small. And they gave him that number, 55 and a half. And I mean, he's as big as the men are now, but no more half, but he's still 55 and a half.
Well, hey, Luke, it sounds like you've been in the dugout for several years. What's your favorite tournament that you've been to, that you've been part of, that you can remember?
I mean, there's been a lot of good ones, but I would say the Police Softball World Series is probably the best one.
Well, obviously that's the biggest and best of all. You're going to have, you get, anytime you get 80 teams together and everyone's fighting for the prize, it's always going to be good memories. Plus it's Vegas. And is there any other ones besides Vegas that stand out?
I'd say the West Coast Classic. Sure. Yeah.
It's always competitive.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. One of the things that Jeff had told me about was, he was like, man, I remember Luke. Luke used to come up there when I was calling a game or whatever, and he was like right by my side, and he was like, just so into it. And, Jeff would laugh because he'd say, I've got my mind on that. I'm trying to figure out this thing. He goes, but hey, there was Luke right there next to me. Anything he could do, anywhere he could go, that kid was on it. He wanted to be a part. And I think that's what's so special, about our circuit and police softball in general, is how welcoming everybody is to the families. You've always felt that, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he would carry a balls and strike clicker in his pocket, and just work behind the umpire.
Dan.
And Dan was super nice, and all the umpires super nice to him, and just let him, just hang out, and they were super kind to him. So the whole feeling of family and being very safe out there, we could let him roam around and play with all the other kids, and there was never an issue, never a thought. So.
Dan didn't make any mistakes.
Oh yeah.
I tell you that it was probably 4 years ago, he got straight A's. I mean, he's a great student. So I told him, I'm gonna take you to sporting goods store and get whatever you want. And he went and got a cloth umpire bag with the clicker and a brush.
Wow.
That's what he wanted.
Wow.
Everything. That's what he wanted. So
yeah.
So
and there you go with how impactful it is, not only what we do in our careers, right? Because we run into a lot of children who look up to us. We're in uniform, and they just want a chance to just say hi, or if you got some stickers or something. I mean, that alone can be impactful. When I became a policeman, when I was younger, I remember going to my brother's baseball games, and across the street there would be a substation, and these officers would take off. Sometimes they'd take off right from the substation. I remember, man, no matter what I was doing, man, I'd turn and watch those cars go by, and it was so impactful for me. But to be able to grow up around a bunch of dudes like that, I already know that's in our circuit. Man, what a neat opportunity for us to make such a difference. They hear it from you, Lyle. Kristen, they hear it from you, but to feel it and to hear it from others, that maybe they've never met before. A family, for instance, goes up to the World Series for the first time, and they feel that love, that camaraderie, that bond. Man, that's a special thing. That's so impactful for these kids.
I remember the first time we played your team was probably 4 or 5 years ago at the World Series, the Trini's team. And I don't know how many Reyes's you had on that team. Luke said, he goes, hey, do you think we're related to them? How come they're not on our team? And I was like, I said, if we're from Texas, we're probably related somehow.
Yeah, man, that's cool. Well, tell me, Lau, when you're bringing Luke up, and you're bringing him along in this game, what is it that you felt like whenever Luke would say, "Hey, is it a police tournament?" Because you played civilian ball?
Yeah.
Because that's what I get from my kids. Did you get that, from Luke when he was growing up?
Yeah. Whenever tournament, he says, "A police tournament?" Yeah, I guess, okay, I want to go.
Yes.
I tell you, the only tournament he missed was last year's World Series because he's in band, so he had a band competition, but he tried to get out of it. And Mama said, "No, you got to go to your band competition." So
yeah,
but, he's never had any interest really in going to any of the other civilian tournaments. But anything at Big League Dreams, where there's a snack bar, he was there.
yeah, very cool, very cool. Well, hey, man, I just I want to to thank you guys. Jeff Blair says I watched that kid grow up. Yeah. So, man, I want to take this opportunity to thank you guys so much for making the time to join us. Lau, it's your first time on the show.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. And it was neat to be able to meet your family at the same time when it comes to the show and introducing everybody to your family. So thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks, guys.
All right, man. We'll talk to you all later. See ya.
Bye.
Luke, I'm looking forward to meeting you out there next time. All right. All right, bud. We'll see you guys.
Bye.
All right. So tell me if that's not, it's pretty impactful, man, to be able to hear these things. I knew this was going to be a great show for those reasons. Those of us in the circuit already know this, but it's neat to be able to introduce people into what it is that, this circuit and law enforcement softball in general, means to us. All right. So now we're going to move on to our next family. So this family is out of California. And they're joining us, they're separate today, but I was really happy that they made that effort to make it onto the show. So, Joe, I'm going to introduce to our viewers, Mark Jackson. Let's bring Mark on. Where is he at? There he is. All right, Mark, what's going on, man?
What's up, Mark?
How's it going?
Excellent,
well.
man. I like the way you're representing back there.
Absolutely.
Yep, very cool, man. This dude, Mark, you're a ton of man right there, man. God bless
He's a beast,
you,
man.
dude. I'm gonna
6'9", 380, right?
Oh my God, I gotta go do some curls or something. I need to have some weights in here. Mark is a member of the SinCal Connection, an unbelievable team out of California. 2009 World Series Major Division champion with Hardcore, two-time Major Division runner-up, which is people talk about they're second place, the first place loser, whatever in the Major Division. I'm telling you, I mean in any division, respectfully, but when you get to the majors, that's the cream of the crop when it comes to competitiveness. So that's a big accomplishment there. Former player and manager of Hardcore. So hey man, thank you so much for joining us. And the reason I'm really happy about having you and your son here, we're getting ready to meet on the show, is because we hang out together, and there was something in particular that took place within your family that I know was very impactful to your family, but also to our circuit. So, hey, man, I know we're going to get into that here in just a second, but tell me what police softball means to you, and bringing your son up, who we're going to meet here shortly.
Oh, I've been playing police softball since 1997, so it's evolved quite a bit. But it's just like you guys, everyone always says, it's just all about family, really. It's competition. We're all competitive. We're all alpha males. We love to compete, but at the end of the day, we're all brothers, and that's what I love about the circuit. We go at it as hard as we can on the field, and after that, we buy all each other beers and hang out and laugh and have a good time. So,
yeah, very cool. Yeah. We talk about that on the previous shows, but it's neat to be able to have somebody new to the show that reinforces that, because, it's no BS, if you will. It is definitely that strong of a connection. Stu Donaldson says, Jackson got me started in police softball in Tahoe. So thanks for the intro. Yeah. Very cool. Well, hey, listen, no further ado. Let's bring on your son, Nick, who has a special place in my heart, man.
Yeah, mine
Nick.
too.
Yeah. What's going on, Nick?
Still in the car, man?
Not much. How are you guys? Yes, sir.
Man, thank you so much for joining us. I know you're traveling, but I truly appreciate it. So this is the Jackson family from California, Mark and Nick, man. And Nick, we talked about it a little bit earlier, man. If you don't mind sharing, to a degree, I know that you grew up around the ball field, right? Because you've made comments on previous shows about like Benji. I think you made a comment about Benji, and you saw his what'd you say about his mustache or something like that? Didn't you say? I can't remember if it was Benji.
I've been watching Benji and that big mustache he has playing since I was a pup.
Yeah, there you go. I knew that's what you had said.
Yeah,
man. So, hey, there was a particular situation that I knew there was a call to action amongst the circuit. And I know you've grown up on the field without a doubt, but, if you don't mind sharing, to a degree again, what was taking place in, and Mark, if you can chime in, whoever wants to take the lead, but I know it was very special to me.
It's kind of.
Go ahead, Bubba.
I'm in a bad patch right here. I didn't hear that question, Trini. I'm sorry.
You're all right. Hey, Mark, what I was telling Nick is that, there was a situation that took place with you that, was really like a call to action. Nothing on your part, but I'm so happy that it was put out there so that we could all in our circuit support you. What was that situation that took place that, you felt that love, that happened not too long ago?
Everybody getting together and just rallying for me and, putting on tournaments and selling tickets to just raise money to help me fight what I was battling. Benji, man, it's San Francisco. I can't.
Benji, we're in a deep moment right now. Damn it, Benji.
That's
You're
typical
killing
Benji.
me.
Benji never stops.
Yeah, I'm
Benji
about to
never
get on
stops.
Carly for that one. You don't put that up when Nick's about to talk about this situation he was in. We'll bring that back up, Benji. Go ahead, Nick. What ended up happening in that situation that everybody, rallied up and was able to show that support, that love from our circuit?
I keep losing service, Trini.
Well,
You're all right.
I can chime in a little bit on this. So,
Yeah, man.
When Nick was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, I believe it was Tyson Becker put it on the police softball website, kind of broke it down, shared a link for a GoFund that we had going for Nick. And it was just amazing to see. A lot of people like Joe, as a matter of fact, was one of the first people to post on there and send him a donation. And I had never met Joe before. I knew of the Missouri Lawman, but I had never known Joe personally. And just to see these guys that just because I'm part of the circuit, reach out and help out my family in a time of need, it was just very humbling to me. Very humbling. And it meant a lot. And it kind of opened up my eyes to what this sport and our circuit really is. And it really is a brotherhood, and it really is a family. And I didn't always look at it that way. My teammates and the guys that I knew were my brothers. But as far as nationwide, people reaching out and checking on Nick and how's Nick doing, and people I've never met before, sending messages and asking to check in. It was just truly amazing. And I cannot thank everybody enough for what they did for him.
It's pretty amazing, Mark. I think just the circuit as a whole, like you said, is one big family. And when somebody's in need, whether it's a player or an officer that that's part of the circuit or one of their family members, we always come together. And it seems like everyone's got everybody's back, and it's awesome to see. And I've seen it numerous times over the years, and it's just every time you see it, it's awesome.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. 100%.
Nick, we got you back, man. Maybe not. No, not yet. Okay. Well,
he's on his way to Vegas, so he's probably up in the hills somewhere.
Are you there? You can hear us, right, Nick?
Looks like he's in and out still a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
Making sure you get a good shot of that San Francisco Giants hat. Right
yeah.
there.
Now's the time, Benji. Now's the time. yeah. Hey, whenever we get Nick back, please, get him back in on the mic. Jeff said Mark was underrated as a defensive player. He could always hit, but I saw him play middle infield for Eldo Cartel and had great hands, great overall athletic ability.
He's locked down over at first base, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Thank you very much. Those are kind words.
Yeah, man. Hey, let's see if we can get Nick back here. Is there any way we can get his microphone back on? Yeah, we'll see if we can get Nick back on there. But yeah, man, I think that's a neat part of it. Mark, so Nick had a lot of experiences with a lot of the different ball players and teams and all throughout the years.
Oh yeah, like I said, I've been playing police softball since 1997. So yeah, he grew up at the ballpark. Nick's always been a ball player, so anywhere I went to go play ball, he was right there with me. In the dugouts, playing catch with the fellas, pepper, anything he could do to be part of the group. And and I think that's where he gets most of his ball breaking from. He's an expert at it, So he has a good time, especially nowadays.
Learn from the best.
Yeah, you can probably hear him at the World Series when he comes out every year.
Yeah,
he's in my dish all day long, every at bat.
That's awesome.
Nick, you there now?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool, man. Yeah, we've got a couple of minutes left on this part, but man, just we were talking about how everybody rallied together. And I know that there were people that were able to send packages your way, and all types of support from the circuit, and that's what we were touching on.
Yeah, Trini, that the care package that you sent me really meant a lot. Somebody that I've never met before, never shook your hand, never talked to. You reached out from halfway across the state to to help me battle personal demons that I was battling at the time. And that's when I knew police softball was really a brotherhood.
Yeah, he's freezing up. Yeah, he's freezing up there. But I'll tell you what, man, that was very special to see that outpouring of packages and I know patches and all kinds of things to make sure that I know from experience, and we all have those types of experiences, what it's like to have that fear and anxiety of an illness. And to have everybody from all over the place, I'm sure Tyler was in on it, send things to you and to be able to just show their support. And again, you get these packages like you're talking about from people you've never met before, but truly, like really sincerely expressing that you're not alone is a huge thing. And so I'm very happy that we could do that for you guys, man. Nick, I know you joined us, on the road, man, and you're breaking out quite a bit, but that's okay, man. We're happy that we get to see your face, your smiling face, because I know that, you were facing some difficulty not too long ago, and I'm happy to see you smiling, man.
Let me chime in real quick since he's freezing up again. Going back to the package that he's talking about, Trini, he and I have talked many times about this, and he was not doing well, not only in the treatments that he was going through at the time, but mentally, he was in a pretty bad place. A young kid and going through some very tough life ordeal. And here's his package that he gets from some guy he doesn't know. But it was something that you went through as well. And to be able to share that with him and have him and help him through what he was going through, being that you already went through it, was huge for him. It wasn't someone like me saying it's going to be okay. You're going to get through it. Keep fighting, right? I've never been through it, right? So those are kind of empty words. Coming from someone that's been through it like you, it's a whole different meaning to him, right? And it dug him out of that hole. And he and I will be forever grateful for everything that you have done. You have no idea.
Yeah, man.
No idea what you mean to me and my family.
Thank you very much for that. As soon as I mentioned it to our SA Law guys, man, everybody was on board with trying to make something happen. And so I'm very happy that we have that type of relationship. And I'll tell you, Nick and Mark, and I know Joe and everybody else will agree that, you know, there is a love that is present amongst our circuit, and you feel it every time we get together. And it's definitely shows when you go out to play with a different team somewhere else, man. You just feel that connection instantly, and I love that camaraderie, man, and being able to hear how we positively affected you guys, your family, and of course, Nick, you have a special place in my heart, and I'm very happy that we could, you know, be that to you when you needed us. Yeah, man. So hey, man, thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode. First timers, got a bunch of first timers here today, so we'll have you guys back though for sure, man. So hey, Nick, enjoy your trip. Thank you so much for joining us, man. We appreciate you.
Everybody be safe.
Yep.
All right.
Appreciate it, Mark.
Sorry
Appreciate it, Nick.
again.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Nah, dude, thank you for joining us, man. We'll get with you guys later. Thank you, man. Yeah. Yeah. Again, some more impactful stuff, you know. And I knew this would be a great show. Jeff saying, you know, Trinity, this is a great topic. It proves that PS is more than just playing the game of softball. It's transcending. I have relationships I built that will carry on well beyond my years in the sport. There are guys who I have not played softball with or against in a decade that are still close to me. It is an extended family. So yes, very well said. And
I agree with that 100%.
Nikki said that Benji said that, Nick, glad you beat it, brother. Stay strong. All right. So let's see. We're going to move on to our next family. And that is our Canadian connection. We got our Canadian connection here in Tyler Wilson. What's going on, man? Hey, man. I was gonna do a little more build-up, but look what I got to read, man. So you're a Police World Series Silver Division champion. You're a silver and a bronze at the World Police and Fire Games in 2009 and 15, and you're a volunteer firefighter. A?
A. You guys say y'all, we say A.
I do say y'all a lot, but when I'm talking to you, I say A. So, hey, man, thank you so much. Most people are in the circuit are familiar with you. You know, you're able to make the trip down from Canada and join us when it comes to, you know, a lot of these teams who maybe need some help. Everybody's really familiar with you. You're one hell of a player, of course. But we're highlighting the family today. So we're extremely happy to have Tyler's family joining us, the Wilson family from Canada. Who do we got, Tyler? Who's joining us?
We got here
Caitlin and Olivia.
Yes, and? Yes, that's right, Allison. Thank you so much. Allison's such a great person. When it, you know, every time we see her, she's got a big smile and hugs for us. So very happy to see you, Allison. All right. Well, I'm excited, man, to talk about the family from, you know, our Canadian connection. Tyler, tell us about the kids. Tell us about them growing up at the field or being around, you know, police softball. I'll go into it later what I know of your family, but go ahead, man. Tell us about your family.
I've got Caitlin here and Olivia. They've always been around the ballpark. Like they look forward to after the game. They always know we're going to the parking lot. We're having a good time and probably crushing a few beers. That's they've always been at a ballpark.
They travel with you quite a bit.
Every once in a while. It's just tough because we don't have many sitters. My parents are gone, but Allison's parents are here half the year. So
I got a question for Caitlin and Olivia. When you guys go to the ballpark with your dad, you guys ever go out for dinner or anything like that with the team afterwards?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes. Is there a time that you remember that's one of your favorite times going out with the team and hanging out with them?
Well, what do you think? We went out with Trini one time when he came up to Canada.
Yeah.
And we go out sometimes with ball teams.
Yeah, like
Boston Pizza.
yeah, we usually go to Boston Pizza.
Yeah.
It was really good. It was really good.
Yeah, and
Trini, I can't believe you didn't mention anything about Caitlin's shirt she's wearing.
Well, I saw that.
You not see that?
I did see that, and I'm very happy. Our Canadian connections always repping SA Law, but man, they've got another. Yeah, there you go. Look at this. Yeah, man, that was look at that pose. Wow. You look at that shirt and they wore that shirt for me and when I was going through what I was going through with, my illness not too long ago. And it was just so special. But man, it's not just that. The girls, you guys send me a bunch of really cool messages on my birthday or whenever there's a special occasion coming up. I absolutely love it. What do you guys love to do on these videos?
Just talk and see how people are doing.
Yeah. Do you guys like to dance? Yes, and we like to dance.
Oh man, you guys are great dancers and singers. And I'm so upset that I don't have a video of one of those. I really wanted to show one of those. So let me tell you, Tyler, you just made a move, I think. I think you maybe are playing with a different team this year.
Yeah, I moved on to Northern Lawman, so bunch of guys I've known for a little while. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
So do they play somewhere around where you live? Are you able to?
No, there's not even close.
Lord.
I'm West Coast, and they live in Ontario.
How many miles is that away?
How many miles?
A lot. It's like
it'd be like Seattle to San Antonio.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Okay. So the girls, are they able? So Caitlin, Olivia, let me ask you, what's your favorite thing about police softball?
My favorite thing is when police or like corrections officers do the hard work on the job and then they come back for softball and put their hard work into softball.
That's an awesome answer.
Yeah, I love it.
What about you, Liv?
Mine is that like I get to like meet new kids and like I like watching like my dad play baseball with his friends and I like playing with the kids and I enjoy watching my dad and his friends playing baseball and when
Very cool. So do you guys have a quick little song that you guys can sing for us? I would love to hear a song. If you have one, just briefly, it would be really cool. You guys are performers. You guys are awesome. Hook us up. Come on. Something. Anything. Ooh, they didn't expect that. How about
they're pretty shy.
How about well, I'll tell you what, I look forward to your next video and I'm really excited to be able to see that. I think it would be really neat to be able to have something that we can show on the show. So maybe you guys can come up with something, record it for us, and then we'll show it on the show later on to everybody. How about that?
Okay.
That'd be cool?
Yeah.
And Tyler. Yeah, man. Well, hey, I know we're pushing up on some time, but I loved it. This is a great subject matter, and it's neat to see all the kids and the families that are positively affected, by our circuit and by the guys on that circuit. So, hey, man, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Allison, I look forward to hanging out again, and girls, it'll be really neat to see that video. We're going to show that thing on this show. Okay.
Okay.
It could be the start to the Wilson family YouTube channel.
Start selling some shirts. Yeah. But hey, man, thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, man. We'll catch up with you here shortly. All right, man. Hey, so, great show with these families, man. I love it. It's my favorite thing one of my favorite things about police softball, man, is the families that we positively affect in the way that we, showed here today.
Something I want to mention real quick. Anyone that's listening, anyone's got kids or anything like that, I'm going to bring I bring like a stack of patches with me. And if any of the kids out there your kids collect these patches, send them out to me. I'll give them as many patches as they want. Just find me at the fields and I'll have them with me in my bag. Just putting that out there for whoever's out there. Man,
that's a great offer there, Joe. I mean, my Tyler always comes up with coins and stuff like that from Canada, and they're really unique. And so that's a great offer, man. Thanks for mentioning that. Softball by Fat. Tyler, I got some coins for you, my brother. So there you go. There's an example of it. Says Greg Rogers says, Tyler, you're going to miss those big limo rides. I'm going to have to find out about that one. Yeah, man. So we'll get on to this next part of the show. And this is police softball from an ump's perspective. And when we talk about umps, you know, you're remiss if you don't talk about this dude, man. We're going to have a little competition going here side by side. Let's see what we got. This is our guest. He
The
is
man, the myth, the legend.
extremely respected amongst our circuit. Had tons of experience in civilian ball, of course, but also in our police softball, man. And when he came down to the Texas Showdown one year, I was so happy because I knew we were in great hands. So we're going to welcome Dan Potter. What's going on, brother?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, excellent, man. Excellent. We got Dan here as a premier umpire in the PS.com circuit for 13 years. He didn't say premier. He would never do that. I said premier. He's an umpire for 13 years on our PS.com championship, 13 PS.com championship games. There's a reason that Jeff and Dell put him out there in that game. Well, along with dude's forearms and, you know, biceps and traps and everything else. Who's going to argue with this dude, man? He's super experienced in it. I wasn't going to say the head, but you know, when you look, check this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put those two side by side, then we can talk.
You
about
always
it.
get the head and hair jokes, Trini. I love it.
I don't know where I get this
They
from.
never get old.
It's not my material. I'm egged on every week.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you that Dan. Also, there's another big thing to recognize on that banner that we had, and that is that Dan is the first civilian to be awarded in our circuit with the Chevy Wright Sportsmanship Award, and that was in 2015. So that's a really neat honor, Dan. Yeah, congratulations to you on that, brother.
I'd like to add one more thing. So a lot of people may not know, a lot of people probably already do know, but Dan is we were talking earlier when Mark was on, Mark Jackson, and talking about how the circuit's a family, and anytime someone needs help, everyone steps up and helps out, no matter where they are across the country, you know, Canada, United States, wherever. Dan, who is part of the circuit for 14, 15 years now, always contributes, always steps up. Anytime somebody needs help, anytime an officer is injured, anytime a family member of an officer is hurt, injured, needs help, he always steps up. He does bat raffles. He does whatever he can to, you know, to help out, help the cause, basically. And it's an awesome thing. And, you know, obviously he's been a big part of the circuit for the last several, you know, like I said, 15 years or so. And he's part of the family, and it's obvious. No matter where he goes, everybody knows him, and he does great things for the circuit, for the people in the circuit. And I love the work he does. Maybe not always behind the plate, but you know, off the field, I love the work you do.
I've never heard that before. Never.
Just kidding.
See, you got jokes also. I'll tell you what. Yeah, you said it perfectly, Joe. The dude's, he's a big man, but a huge heart, and you see it, man. He's always, you know, first in line when it comes to, you know, putting a word out there as far as supporting somebody. He comes up with these raffles, and he's also, you've got a circuit also, Dan, that you're able to, you know, that you run. Tell us a little bit about that, and through that circuit, you know, you also have fundraisers for the civilian side of things too. I see you with your children. It's not just in our circuit; it's outside of our circuit also. Tell us about that.
Right, I do a couple local tournaments out here in my community. One is I hooked up with CHP out here in California. It's called Chips for Kids. They come down, they pick up the toys, they put their lights on, sirens, scare everybody, and they pick up the toys. They stay within my community, and then I do a breast cancer tournament as well. Raise some funds to send off to, it used to be called the Save the Tatas. They've changed their name recently. Just to give back to my community. My community's given me a lot. It's time to give back. The Code 3 is a public safety, active military, non-active firefighters, paramedics. I started it with LA County Sheriff about 2014. We've been shut down this year, obviously, because of the COVID, but calls daily. When we going? When we going again? What's going on? So get a lot of good feedback. Just try to surround myself by positive people.
How many tournaments in that Code 3 circuit you got?
We start. I cut it back. We used to start in January, but too many rains, so we probably run about 7 or 8 once a month. I try to stay away from like the DEA. I don't want to hurt them. I try to stay away from the West Coast Championship. Again, I don't want to hurt those tournaments. I get a lot of station teams. Again, I try to feed them into PS.com as well. Hey, you know what? A lot of station teams, they don't have the talent. They just have the, as somebody told me once, there's jocks and then there's administrative people in law enforcement. And they just sometimes get the wrong people out there. But it's fun. It's fun. It is.
Yeah.
How did you first get associated with the police circuit? How did that come about?
So about 13 years ago, about 15 years ago, there's a guy named Jerry Ramsey. Calls me up. He says, hey, there's this law enforcement circuit that has a World Series in Palm Springs. They were back in Palm Springs. He's like, would you be interested? I said, no. All those alpha males running around there. I said, I don't think I can, He's like, okay. So the next year he calls me back. And I'm like, hey, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? I'm like, really, what's the worst that can happen? I went out there and it was a blast. I mean, to see you guys so competitive on the field, but then when you step off, you're walking up with the guy to buy him a beer. And I'm like, that doesn't happen in civilian ball. Usually they're fighting, they're rolling around in the grass afterwards. I'm like, and then maybe, I don't know, a couple tournaments later, people start knowing my name. And I'm like, wow, thanking me for coming out there and giving them the hustle, getting them positions. And it just went downhill from there, I guess.
Yeah, man. Just for a quick catch up on some of the comments, because I think it's important. We can talk about you all day, but I think it's important to hear from other people within the circuit. Just to briefly touch on, not only you as an umpire, but also as a great caring person. Real quick, that Frank, man, we softball by fat. That's Frank Tarones, man. Thanks for joining us today, brother. Let's see. We got Richard says Dan. Butchie says hello. I'll tell you what we're going to do is we got Stu says Dan makes the game fun and light. Always fun to have him at our games, and I love that too, because, one of the things that I've heard throughout the years is, when an umpire becomes bigger than the game, it can become an issue. And the thing I love about you is I don't see you ever doing that, man. In fact, you're trying to just stay out of it, let the dudes play. And, that's something that I admire about the way that you ump, man. Yeah, there you are. There you are being, these guys, I don't care who they are. You just hold on for a second. That's what you're saying right there. But hey, Jeff says Potter has nothing on the ump we had in Vegas who insisted on playing his iTunes on the playlist between innings, talked smack to every player who made an error, and is ultimately physically removed from the park by Las Vegas. Oh my goodness, by Las Vegas.
I was there for that. I'll never forget that.
For the record, that wasn't a local umpire that I used in California. That was a Vegas umpire. And JD's right. He hasn't been invited back since.
Well, Jeff followed it up with, on a serious note, that jersey Dan is wearing is in dedication to PS co-founder Dale Glenn. And we talked about that before we got on the air. We knew that when he wore that shirt, it was absolutely paying homage to this man right here, Dale Glenn.
One of the West Coast Championships, the year that Dale had passed away, I made the shirts up, and all the umpires wore them on the Saturday, which was the final day. And, I don't remember if we took a picture or not, but that was the behind the shirt was that we, I don't know, for memory type of a thing. But,
yeah. Well, man, you talk about you leaving a legacy, besides what you do on the field. I mean, doing things like this, man, it just sticks out in everybody's memory. So, man, it's awesome to be able to have, the impact that you've had on us, more than just being an ump. And that's a big part of the respect that we all have for you. Jimmy G says Potter is the best in the business. Been the UIC for the DEA Combo Kickoff Classic for as long as I can remember. Couldn't do it without him. Thanks for all you do for the circuit. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah,
You need to hear all this stuff, man. I mean, you know,
that's just
my son says, have always loved talking and checking the score with Mr. Potter. Great official and one of the kindest humans I've ever met.
great kid right there. Great.
Pretty good, pretty good. Hey, so I know we're going to get to a few more comments here shortly, but we're going to show this quick little video, and I want to make a little comment after this video. Here, check this out. It doesn't last too long, but now this was at the Texas Showdown. This is right here a presence on the field. That catcher is not a small dude, you know. That dude's not a small dude, and Dan, like I said, man, that just emphasizes big man, but even a bigger heart. And I really appreciate you making the trip down to San Antonio for our tournament on that one, man. It really meant a lot to me.
It was a fun time. It really was. Got to see some San Antonio. Got to see the Alamo. It was. You could take away that humidity. That'd be an awesome way.
Oh man, well we had it when we could have it, like we talked about trying to avoid other people's tournaments.
Yeah.
But we got a little special something in the works that a buddy of mine from New York who runs a certain New York tournament, along with a couple of other buddies, like my buddy on the screen here with me. With a little help from my friends, we're looking at making this happen in conjunction with our Keepers of the Peace tournament that's going on in 2021. And the reason I mention that is because that happens in April. And that's going to be a whole different feel here in San Antonio. Riverwalk playing, everything's going to be different if we can make that happen. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see what we can do about getting you down here for that.
Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, man. So Benji says, when Potter first started, his eyes were stuck. He's better now. Hey, so hey, Dan. So from an ump's perspective, tell me, we're going to have somebody that's going to be joining us here shortly, but from an ump's perspective, if there was something you could talk to, with these softball players that are tuning in right now, what is it, something from your perspective, when it comes to umping that, has stuck out in your mind over the years that you think would be pretty cool to communicate to these guys, about umping a game, something that maybe, stands out when it comes to, maybe some different, whether it be complaints or things that they're like, hey, come on, Dan, this and that, give us some insight on what it is that goes on back there, and maybe something we don't know.
The big thing that I see on the circuit, not a lot lately, but in the past it's happened, is sometimes the guys think that as an umpire, even in civilian ball, we're out there, we pick and choose who wins, and that's not with me. That's not the case. I don't get paid any more or any less if Team A wins over Team B. I'm out there. This is my job. I take it serious. I'm out there. I think the more that I've been in the circuit, the guys that know me, they get looser with their words, and sometimes I kind of look back at it. I'm like, what would bring that on? I don't come out here to deliberately miss a play. Because if I do, then I'm going to hear it in the bar later, and I don't want to do that. I want, so I mean, it's
they can't blame themselves. They got to blame somebody, man.
You know what? I said that under my breath one time, and I did that, and it made me feel better. So I talk to myself a lot when I'm doing this. I'm like, but and now, I mean, over I've noticed the last 3 years, the game's gotten so fast. One guy can't see it all. It's impossible. Last year at the World Series, they want us to call people stepping out of the box. I'm like, if I'm watching that, I'm missing something else. And that's not important to me. It wasn't. I mean, I hate saying that, but it's just, there's more to the game out there than watching somebody step out of the box. There's no advantage to that. I think, Trini, we talked about it last weekend. I've had teams that were very frustrated. They were getting smacked around. So you let them chirp a little bit more than you normally would, and you tell the coach, I get that. You're getting smacked around. You want to just don't abuse me. You want to come out, tell me, come out and talk to me. It goes a lot farther than your right fielder yelling at me how to play at the dish that you could never see. It's, but.
And I remember, I personally, this is just me though, I've never quite understood, getting on an umpire especially early on in the game, because it's like, man, the last thing you want to do is give this dude a reason to go. Really. And I know that you in particular are really good about not letting that get to you. You're calling the game the way it is, and it is what it is. And that stuff, you're able to deflect that. But, we've all been on the field with some umps that, man, that definitely comes into play. I mean, there are some umps that are just saying, all right, cool.
I see a lot of that in the city ball. Like I said, during the game, it won't get to me. I got a 5.5-hour drive home from Vegas after Vegas is done. So, there was times where I talked to Dell and JB after winning the tournament, and I said, I'm done. I don't want to come back. I mean, I've had enough. It was as bad. It was a bad year. And after that, you know what? Everything's changing. You guys police yourself. We're in city ball. They don't do that. I mean, I'm going to beat you up. Trust me, you're the last person I'm worried about. Like it's the threats and all that. But law enforcement, you guys you police yourselves. If this guy's getting out of control, you check him. Hey, you know what? Check yourself. You know what? You're extending that. That's not the guy you want to go after. It's you just relax. I think I used a line on one guy in San Antonio, and I did, and I said, hey, do you even know who I am? I'm like, you're new to the circuit. Why don't you go ask somebody? And I thought, God, I can't say that. And later in the day, he came up and he apologized, and so did I. I said, hey, I'm not above the game. I'm not that type of person. I said, but you just got me in the middle of the game, and I didn't know what to say, and I blurted that out, and I apologize.
Well, you know what? You're human, and we need to be able to handle ourselves appropriately, especially in a law enforcement tournament. It's the way it is. So nothing wrong with checking somebody like that, man. Hey, Joe, in your experience, man, what are some things that maybe you've experienced with umps that, Dan can give us his perspective on? And if anybody out there has a question for Dan, please go ahead and put it into our comments, man, and we'll ask Dan for you.
I think umping a game, umps are you can kind of go, I don't know, hand in hand, but if it could be similar to police work, I would say, like, where certain umps can handle someone screaming at them and someone yelling at them, others not so much, and sometimes umps kind of lose it. Dan, I think you're one that tends to fall on the end of actually being able to handle yourself pretty well, actually, out there from the games that I've seen. Other umps, you see umps lose it all the time. I've seen them. I've seen umps and players fight before. You know what I mean? I've seen it get pretty wild, and same with police work. If you're out on the line or something during these protests, I'll use that for an example because that's what we're dealing with right now. But and you got people screaming in your face constantly. Some police officers can handle it better than others, and I think I don't think anybody should be screaming at you because of a call. Like you said, you're one guy, and it's too much to handle by yourself out there. But sometimes people get a little out of control, and I think, like I said, I think you handle it better than others. I don't know if you've ever had an instance where maybe you thought maybe you let yourself react a little too much to a player or to a coach or something like that, and if you had an instance like that, maybe how you handled it, and maybe how you wish you would have handled it differently or something like that.
It's funny you say that. Probably like 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago there was a game, and someone in the stands had said something. The words came out of their mouth as, "Potter, you suck." And I took it personal because you made it personal. So the person in the stands was related to the pitcher on the team. And I blurted it out, and I yelled it out loud, and I said, hey, look, if she says one more word, I'm going to throw your pitcher out and your manager. I've had enough. You got personal, and I was firing off at the mouth, and I think I said some things I shouldn't have said. And not even 5 seconds later, I'm walking back to home plate, and the catcher is there, and I'm like, I am so sorry. I'm like, I'm better than that. I shouldn't have done that. I should probably exit out of this game because I'm not in the right frame of mind. But I didn't take a side. I continued the game, and after the half inning, I walked over to the coach, and I told him, I said, I apologize. I owe you a huge apology. You want me? I'll say it in front of everybody after the game's over. I don't care. I said, but she got the best of me, and I never should let that happen. It happened, and it's.
Well, there's a lot of umps that don't even go there. So I think it's awesome that you're able to, I know I've heard you. Well, I know I've seen you handle yourself with some comments where here recently, I've had to catch more, and I'm usually in the field, but I've had to catch more. So I've been there, and I've heard some comments. I turn around, I look at you, and you do this kind of thing, like. And then you just keep your head forward. So I've been there and seen you absorb a lot, and so I give you a lot of credit, man. I think
I'm not saying it's all bad. It's not. I wouldn't be around for 13, 14 years if it wasn't. I look forward to it. It's like Christmas. I mean, I told my wife a couple weeks beforehand, I'm getting excited because I've met so many friends across the United States that I never would have had the opportunity to do it if there wasn't. Yeah, there's another good one. I don't know who the guy in the blue shirt is. I've never met the guy, but
it's a guy that won't let us have a deep moment.
He claims to be my friend. Benji, great guy. The story I met him too was I think he was playing with Quakes at Palm Springs, and there's a play at second base, and I'm out there and make the call, and somebody in the dugout yells out something about stop running because your eyes are bouncing, something to that effect. And I turn around, and I yelled in the dugout. This is probably the second year I've been out here, and I'm like, who said that? Just man up and tell me who said that. There's 13 of you in the dugout. One person, just say, I'll pick on just that one person. I won't touch anybody else. And some guy behind the dugout goes, well, I said it. I'm like, no, you didn't, because your voice ain't the same as his. And then Buck, the tall Buck, the pitcher comes up and goes, you know who it was? I said, it was probably Benji. And somehow now Benji and I become friends.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, we're about to get into a particular incident that kind of stands out and we're going to have another guest that's going to join us here, but we're going to get to a couple of comments. We got Stu that says everyone should ump at some point to understand how hard and mentally and physically demanding it is. That's a great point, Stu, because I know how we feel as players at the end of a tournament. These dudes are out there the same as we are. They're running, they're in every play, whether it's a ball, a strike, calling an out, whatever. I mean, these dudes are out there, and I always like to try to, regardless of the answer, some people say it's sucking up, but it's not. It really is like, hey man, can I get you something? Are you hungry, man? Let me go grab you something to eat or whatever. And it has nothing to do with trying to, gain a strike or a call. This is just having respect for you dudes out there that are involved, and I know genuinely care about their jobs. You're there to do a job, and you're having fun, but man, it's intense. It's like a pitcher to me. Pitcher's in every single freaking play out there, and then he's got to come in and hit and turn around and go back out. I mean, and every pitch, dude's in it. And that's how I see, those umpires too, to a degree. Let's see here. Danny Wood says, you called me out numerous times for stepping on the plate.
Never.
Stepping on the plate's a little different than stepping out of the box.
All right. So Frank says, I always like to challenge Potter. Jeff talked about that last player. He said he quit. He hasn't been back because he was arrested for carjacking several months later. Damn. All right. So let's get in here. We're going to get into Scott says his strike zone's a little tight. Yeah, he's just kidding. And Jeff says, get a hump on it. Scott Michael. All right. So, hey, so there's a particular incident we kind of talked about before, and we have our next guest that's going to join us on to kind of hit on that a little bit, maybe a particular incident that, Dan was involved in, big game, got a lot going on. And this man right here, who's a legend in the sport, Donnie Meyer. What's going on,
guys,
brother?
how you doing?
What's up, Donnie?
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Excellent, man. So Donnie is from North Florida Showdown. He's a 2006 PS.com Hall of Fame, 2006 East Conference Player of the Year. Man, I've heard so many stories, Donnie. We talked last October in Vegas, and man, I didn't know how badass you were. I'm talking like
Very
man,
much so.
people after people came. It's constant, man. These people just kept coming up like, man, Donnie, dude, he was this, he was that. And I was like, man, I would have loved to have seen that. Now we're going to get into a little bit of your history here in just a second, but I'll finish this off. East Coast Conference Player of the Year in 2006, PS.com All-Decade Team. Huge. 2016 National Police Softball Championship Hall of Fame, and a member of the PS.com Legends team. Man, that's awesome, Donnie.
That's
awesome.
Long career. I've been playing for a couple of years now.
Well, look at this.
Oh, God.
Who's that young buck?
That's probably 1985.
Black and white? And those shorts, though.
Yeah, black and white.
Donnie was the one who started the towel and the shorts trend.
Thanks, Joe.
That was like out of bounds. Do not throw or anything here. Yeah. Yeah, man. So, we got a lot of, comments and stuff. Michelle, hey, Michelle Pickney joining us. No one knows more than me how special this community is. I've received so much love and support. You have an extra special place in our heart, Michelle. So, we always got you on our mind. Yeah, man. I'm glad you're able to join us tonight. All right. So, Donnie, tell us about your experience with Dan in a particular game that was taking place.
Well, it's probably back in the first couple seasons that we came out west with New York Metro, who I played with from 1982. Was my first tournament in police softball. We came out to the West Coast and got the pleasure of having Potter behind the plate playing against SoCal Alliance and Ryan Coe. And being from the East Coast back then, we were still playing a lot of ASA, and we come out here to play with the U-Trick rules. And, okay, we know 3 to 10, from release, and we got to see the old Ryan Coe throwing fastballs about 2.5 foot for 3 innings, and then it kind of boiled over a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. And a couple of guys got into – now, we had 20 guys in the dugout when we come out to these tournaments. And New York guys have big mouths. They can get kind of loud and a little obnoxious.
What?
Have it for a couple innings really, really good until we had a little conference at the plate and we kind of started to get him calmed down. But I think Dan was a little afraid he was going to not make it to the parking lot after the game. But since then, everything's been great. Dan's a good friend now. I like to get in. I get in all those bat raffles. I can't wait to see the next one. I can get on there and send him some more money. But
so tell us.
He is top of the class behind that plate. That's for sure.
Yeah. We agree. All agree with that. Dan, tell us what was going on in that game. Because we wanted to get Ryan on here, and he was going to make it. He wasn't able to. But tell us what was going on that game.
It was the first year that was the first year I was ever at a police. It was the World Series, and it ended up East Coast against West Coast. And I thought, it can't be that bad. Come on, it's civilian ball is bad. This can't. I was in fear. I won't say that. I wasn't in fear of my life, but I mean, there I was. You talk about comments, and I looked, and it was women saying it. And I'm like, wait, it was. I was letting the fastball go. I admitted it, and that was I think maybe the 3rd or 4th inning. Called time. There was like 50,000 people out there watching this game, and I called time. I got both coaches together, both managers, and I said, look, my fault. I let it go. I'll stop it right here. Not going to happen again. And then, of course, Coe goes, well, Donnie had 3 innings. I only had 2.5. Don't I get another half inning? I'm like, no. Everything else came at a hump, and it was a great game. But I just like those first 3 innings, it was terrible. I'm like, God, I'm not going to make it out of here. And at the end of the game, I'm like, hey, I'll catch up with you later, JB. I'm out of here. I'm running to my car.
Those New York guys, man, I'll never forget the first time we saw that. I think it was in Kilty here in Houston when we used to go play. Donnie, I was around the ASA time.
Yep.
And it was in Kilty, and we saw a couple of Chicago teams down, and then New York had a couple of teams down here. Dude, those guys were towering, man. Huge dudes. So, yeah, I mean, you're a big man, Dan, but Yeah, I
Bear?
mean, you get this whole. Oh man,
Wasn't it Bear that used to play third for you guys? Bear? Didn't they call him Bear?
Rock. The Rock played with us that one season.
That yeah, he was him and Donnie were the only guys I was really afraid of.
Don't be afraid of me. Don't be afraid of me.
The bully from New York.
John says Donnie is a legend. Jeff said, "Holy smokes, you have the Babe Ruth of police softball on the podcast."
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, we got the OG. Let's see, ECPOY from Jeff.
That's Jeff Regino. He was the first West Coast Player of the Year, the same time as I got the East Coast Player of the Year. We became friends from that day on.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Donnie, when did you make that move from New York down to Florida?
1992. I got on a police department in '82. Played my first police tournament in Detroit. Oh yeah, there you go.
Look at that guy.
But there's another one that's even worse than that. But I got on, there it is. I say easy laughing. I say I hear you laughing, Potter.
I don't feel so bad having no hair. You know what I mean?
Me neither.
That was the Serpico hair back in the early '80s.
Hey, you know, Benji's good for a joke. So he says, Donnie, it's way past your bedtime, brother. How many Geritol you take?
That's my buddy. Yeah, I see Benji on the 50 circuit all over the country now.
Hey,
who you play with on the 50s?
A team called the Beach Boys out of Florida. They're out of Daytona. So, but I'm playing 50s, 55s, and 60s right now. I can play with the 60s this year.
So in Vegas, you pretty much stay out in Vegas for about a month and a half straight. Probably.
Yeah, I'm out there for 3 weeks. Yeah, I'll be out there the week before playing in the 50s, and then a couple days before that 60s. So yeah, I'm out there for 14, 18 days or something like that.
Damn.
Jay-Z, what's going on, Jay-Z? He says North Florida going retro, 85 shorts for Vegas. Jay-Z, you wear those shorts? Man, girls are going to come running.
Oh, Lord.
He's all ripped, that dude. Hey.
Oh, yeah, Jay, yeah.
Yeah, man. So Donnie, with Dan, what's some of the things that you would say when it comes in all your years of experience when it comes to a coach? As a player, as a coach, what is something that you can give these dudes some serious credit for? I know in particular for me, it's the way that I think the biggest thing to me for an ump is the way that they handle themselves when it comes to handling both sides. When somebody's coming over here, say, "Hey, dude, the pitcher's coming off the mound." And then, somebody comes up again and it's like, "Hey, man, this dude's on the mound, and I like it when an ump comes over and says, "Hey, look, I've been watching it, kind of can see something, but I haven't really been able to make that call, but I just need to let you know this is what they're saying, and I think your pitcher needs to be aware of it." I like that before they just make a call and start, calling it out or, whatever. I mean, that's a big thing for me. Donnie, in your experience, what is it that you see when it comes to an ump that you admire? And Dan, you can comment, on what he, in his experience, what he is seeing.
Absolutely. You want an umpire to come out and talk to you and let you know what he's thinking and give you that courtesy of saying that, okay, you might be stepping a little bit deep. Like with me, with Potter, he knows I pitch as far back as you let me go behind that rubber, and I'll keep throwing strikes from 25 feet back if they'll let me. And if he sees me more than 6, 7 feet, he'll go, "Hey, Donnie, come up a couple steps," and without saying, "Okay, dead ball" or whatever. And also, what I like to see in an umpire is every once in a while you're going to hear a little chirping here and there, and the umpires that are good at their craft are just going to say something to either the batter or the catcher. "Hey, take this back to your bench and let the guys know, hey, I hear them. Let them know that I hear them. I know what they're talking about. Tell them to keep it down a little bit." And then you got the other umpires that you don't want to hear. That as soon as you say something, they hear it. They call them rabbit ears, and they hear every little thing, and they want to get on both benches right away and let them know, "I'm the boss of this field." And that's the umpires you really don't want to see.
I agree 100% with you, Donnie.
Yeah, it's true. I used to run the umpires in SoCal for USSSA. And that's one of the first things I tell them. Don't have rabbit ears. You know what? You're out there to do a job. Stay consistent with your strike zone. Be in a position to make the right call. You're going to miss calls. I guarantee it. But don't try to make it up. Live with your call, sell your call, and move on. You know, if you got a coach that's chirping in the dugout, in between innings, just walk over to him and say, hey, you know what? I've heard enough. Let's let it go. Move on. Move on to the next one, whatever you want to do. You know, you're going to bring it up 2-3 innings later. Don't make me control the game. That's the last thing I want to do. I'm just out here to call balls and strikes, outs and saves, you know, and some guys understand it and they'll go back and, you know, I mean, I had an instance in a civilian tournament. The team was out of home runs. Guy hit the ball down the line. It was a championship game. I thought it was a home run. I thought it would pass the foul pole. I called the home run out. Coach comes out, walks out and says, hey, can you just check with your base umpire? Maybe you missed something. I said, cool, no problem. I walked out. I asked my base umpire. He goes, no, it's a foul ball. He goes, do you want to change it? I said, absolutely. Why would I not? I'm not bigger than the game. The game is this level. I'm just right here. I'm just out here for fun. Walked back to the dugout, got both coaches, and told the coaches, hey, look, check this out. My mistake. It was a foul ball, no home run. Not one coach or one player on that team said a word because of the way you handled it. You try to instill that in the new umpires, and nobody wants to do that. They just, you know, like Donnie says, no rabbit ears. You know, you just tell a player, hey, you know what? Shut that drunk dude up over there or something. You know, just it's always that one drunk guy that has something to say about it. You know, but it's the truth. The rabbit ears get you in trouble big time. You know, you're not supposed to hear everything, but sometimes you do. And
I'm curious about that from anyone that's watching. That, you know, obviously we have a lot of guys that play the game that are watching. You know, what are y'all's feelings on that? Would you hold it against that umpire for the remainder of the game, with him being able to say, hey, look, I'm not going to be bigger than the game. I saw that, made a mistake. This is what I'm doing to overturn it. Or would you look at that and say, man, this dude, you know, and bring it up and keep bringing it up and keep going? Because I personally would respect it. I would be like, hey, you know what, man? That dude has got some integrity. He's big enough to be able to make that change. And we need to be able to respect that. And for me, that's how I feel about that. But again, I think that comes with this circuit, because I can't see that happening so well in a civilian, man. In a civilian circuit, I think you might get eaten up, you know, for that game. But I think with us, it might be a different thing. I don't know, Dan.
Certain levels, like we have the E division out here. We have the C division, or the E, the D, the C, and we're starting a B division. As you go up in those divisions, they become more players and they understand the game more. You don't have again, I use the guy in right field saying I missed the call at the plate when he's 400 feet away from home plate. You know, they understand the game. I think, if I remember right, Vince Scully said it the best. 99% of umpire error is because a player doesn't do the right play. They want to backdoor some guy at first base, and the umpire's already setting up where the play should be at third base. You go to that position where it's supposed to be, and all of a sudden the ball goes to first base, and you're totally out of position. And now, if you saw it, you make the call. If you don't, you can't call somebody out for what you didn't see. I don't know if it's 99%. I might be inflated that, but I do recall him saying something to that effect. And you know, it's true. I mean, I watch guys all the time. They're going to third base to set up for the call, and the guy decides he wants to backdoor a guy at first base. He thinks he has the arm on him or whatever, and you know, you're like, oh man, I just missed that play, huh? And like I said, the higher level you get to, you get the less. I don't want to say complaining, but they're not worried over one play. They understand one play.
I was just going to say that.
One play doesn't make or break the game. Yeah. Now, if you've got an umpire behind home plate and he's letting you throw 12 feet high, and I call it deep. Some umpires don't. You know, obviously you got to release the ball. It's got to go to 3 feet, come through the zone. And I just tell them, shorten it up a little bit, you know. But if your strike zone's all over the place, you're bringing on a world of hurt. It's just, you know what, that one play I don't think is going to change the game.
Yeah, and Joe, I got you. I was just going to say that is the way that I like to handle my team. I mean, it's like, look, we might go up. I'll discuss it with the ump, and you know, I'll express my opinion on it, my angle on it. But ultimately, I go back to the dugout, and early on, it was like, well, so what do you say, man? What are we gonna do? It's like, man, look, I talked to him. He's aware of it. I kind of could see the look on his face that he might have missed it. So now let's just keep moving, man. That didn't make or break anything, dude. That's almost like somebody picking up one dude. It's like, man, that guy's going to beat us. We don't need to be in here. So, let him pick him up. Let's go. Let's get him, But I'm curious to hear what the angle is on our surprise guest.
Oh,
the Swami. What's going on, son?
What's up, Jeff?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm on my phone. I'm sorry. Last minute, I got it like
Yeah.
Trinity's podcast. I'm like, all right.
I told him, I said, hey, dude, come on real quick. You're on the board. Come on and give us your feedback. So you've been listening to the show?
Right? I'm unemployed. I don't have a job anymore. My first day of unemployment.
Yeah. Hey, if you can speak up just a little bit, Jeff. Yeah, but if you can speak up just a little bit. So you've heard the show, man. What are some of the comments you got on this?
I'm trying to speak up a little bit. So first of all, the family aspect. Can you guys hear me okay? Family aspect?
It's a little weak, but go ahead, man. We'll be all right.
Let me get this thing where you guys can hear me better. So
there, it's getting better.
The family aspect of police softball cannot be underestimated. The reason you guys are all able to play football is because your wives allow you to do it, right? And one thing, Ryan Coe, who's like my little protege, whatever, when I turned the alignment, I said, make it better than how I left it. It's like the couple of Boy Scouts, right? Leave the campsite better. That guy was a genius. What he did was he got the birth date of every kid on the team and the wife's birth date of every wife on the team, and he went and bought cards, like birthday cards. And when they had birthdays, he would send them cards from the Alliance to the family members and include like a $5 like Starbucks card or something like that. And the reason is he was making investments into the emotional bank accounts of the family. So when it was time to make a withdrawal of, hey, we're going to go play in New York for 4 days or something like that, right? He already had some investments invested in there, right? So the whole family thing cannot. I mean, that is the biggest reason why we do police softball, right? So that's number one. And just like my wife and my kids. So my wife knew how much softball meant to me so much that my second daughter, who just turned 18, she induced labor early so I could go to Tahoe and play in Tahoe in 2002. So, I mean, it's a big deal. Family is a big deal.
It's
so
true.
I think that's a great topic. I'm glad you took it on, Trey. Yeah.
You know what I love about what you're saying is everything revolved with police softball with my family, man. I'm talking where I went to work, my days off. I'd work Fiesta here, which were very long hours, hot, humid, and I kept the time so that I could save it up. And that was going to softball. I mean, we had, I'd plan for my days off, things like that for birthday parties, but they knew that there were certain tournaments. And, I stuck with Tuesday, Wednesdays off because we practiced on Tuesdays. That's the commitment that I had for my team and my team had at that time. And, that's when my family knew just how much it meant to me to be able to make these trips and to be involved with, what we were involved in.
Hey, Trini, how come you didn't go ahead, Jeff?
No, I want to make sure you guys can hear me because my phone's breaking up a little bit. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Because I'll try to switch to my computer.
Yeah.
Okay. What were you saying, Joe?
All right. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't important, but I was just curious why Trini didn't introduce you with that picture of you flexing in Vegas like you did the last time.
We have that, I'm sure, somewhere, and we can do that. I expect Jeff to be a part of our Keepers of the Peace exhibition bodybuilding show.
I started lifting weights. Yeah. So the first part of the podcast was the family, and I'll comment on the second part, and that's when you started getting into Potter. And I mean, I just really appreciate Dan. I met him he was just one of the umpires, and I think he thought I was using a juice bat or something because I was a little guy. I get some bombs, and I remember him. We were doing a provided bat tournament, and I hit a home run. It's a good home run. He's like, okay, you proved yourself to me now. You can hit him with a regular bat. So, anyway, that's kind of my introduction. Damn. But since then, like, let me see if I can get this mic. Since then, I mean, man, that guy has done so much for the sport. The fact that we gave him like the Chevy Wright Sportsman of the Year as a civilian is like something we would never have considered.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I want Dan to know how much he's appreciated. And the stuff, I mean, in this sport, and all you guys know this, right? So if you run a team, there are givers and there are takers, right? So their takers are the guys like, hey, are you paying my plane fare? Are you buying my hotel room? Can I bring my girlfriend? Can I get a free bat bag, right? Those are takers, right? And generally, those are the guys that are pretty good players and they used to get taken care of, blah, 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 right? But I don't need those guys, right? I need guys like Dan. I need givers, right? So Dan gives more than he takes. And I swear, when he goes on these tournaments and he umpires like in San Antonio or New York, I can't imagine the guy makes a dime on it, right? I mean, he's hoping to like cut into some of his expenses because he's got to fly there. You know, if you guys can hook him up with a hotel room, that's great. But what about 3 meals a day, right? And then he's got to take time off of work, right? So, I mean, that kind of stuff, the mere fact that he does all that stuff, like, I'm surprised no one has hint nominated him for the Police Softball Hall of Fame yet, right? So just an idea.
Hint,
so anyway,
hint.
Dan, you're appreciated.
Because that
He's only
would not be
35, right?
argued.
You're only 35, right, Dan?
I turned, how old do I? 49 this year.
49.
Yeah, that would not be argued because, yeah, what I love about the Hall of Fame is it doesn't have to be just on, for instance, Donnie's unbelievable, career when it comes to his play, managerial, everything that, that he's done as a player. But I love about the Hall of Fame is that it's not just about that, man. It's your contribution to the sport also. Mm-hmm. And there are some guys that can make it on their own merit when it comes to just playing, just outright playing. But when it comes to including people, like I'd like to consider myself in that category, that brings something to the sport on different facets, not just the play. And I think that's wonderful about our circuit, that you recognize people that also contribute in other ways. I think that's awesome. I know we lost Jeff. Hopefully he'll be able to come back on. But, Dan, what an awesome compliment, right? I mean,
very much so. I mean, it's. I'm not wearing a hat because my head might swell, and I don't want that to happen. try to be a humble person, and it's. Like I said, I think the police circuit is the best circuit on dirt. I truly do. I have my buddies jab at me all the time. Why are you going to New York? Because it's a great tournament. I'm like, when I get off the plane, I get to the hotel room. I'm like, I'm treated like a celebrity. I can't say that, everywhere I've gone, San Antonio, West Palm, New York, Vegas, even out here. We do used to be a guy named Andy. I can't pronounce his last name, Andy Domenico, I think it is. He runs a Brad Moody Memorial Tournament in NorCal. Calls me up one time. He's like, hey, can you bring a crew up here to umpire? Yeah, I'm on it, all over it. We go up there. It's just, again, positive people, great people. I tell my civilian friends, go out and watch a tournament. See how you treat people. You can be competitive on the field. There's nothing wrong with that. When you step off the field, they're a human being, So the guy struck out, lost the game for him. Who cares? Go up and talk to him. Hey, let's go get a beer. Plenty of times where, after a tournament last year, I'm sitting in the bar getting ready to leave, and Mo from DEA, he's like, you can't go nowhere. I'm like, what do you mean? You're not my wife. You can't tell me what to do. And Mo goes, no, come on. So you bought a beer. Sitting down at, was it the Nugget? The Tacos and Tequila, I think that restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
I get there on Wednesday night. I'm sitting there. I don't have a team when I go out there. I'm by myself. And I'm sitting there having dinner, and Nicholas from Maryland comes up and talk to him, and he goes and leaves. And Next thing I know, I go to pay, and she's like, "No, it's been paid for." I'm like, "Ooh." She's like, "The guy you were talking to." I'm like, "Don't
That's
let
cool.
him do that. Tell him not to." That's not what I come out here because it's fun. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change my time I've had over the 13 years for nothing. It's great meeting all kinds of people like Donnie.
Yeah. It's been great having you, Pod. It's been great having you around, buddy. It's
Yeah,
great
man.
seeing you everywhere. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I got some people confused. They don't know where I live. Hey, don't you you're in Vegas and New York? I'm like, it's fun. It's fun to travel. Last year we took a trip. I took the family to New York, and it was great. We got to see the 9/11 memorial. One of the guys on the Hounds
Very impactful.
Made a phone call for me, and I'm like,
yeah.
Wait a minute. No, I pay my own. He goes, no, come on. You're a friend of mine. I'm like,
Yeah.
It was great times. I mean, it's just, yeah.
One of the things that when I was sick, I had a supervisor who, I'm not real good at accepting those types of things, and it's very difficult. I'm used to being a giver. Like Jeff talked about earlier. Well, Jeff came back on, so we'll add Jeff to it. Thanks for coming back on, Jeff. I'm not used to that, and I'm not good at that at all. And it was extremely difficult for me during what I was going through, much like Mark Jackson, Nick Jackson was going through what he was going through. One thing that my supervisor told me that really stuck out in my mind was, hey, look, man, you've been your brother's keeper for so long. You've done so much for so many. Now it's time to let your brothers keep you. And I was like, man, and it really stuck with me. It allowed me to be able to drop that and to be able to go, okay. And then another supervisor of mine, a great friend of mine, told me, he goes, hey, dude, he goes, you got to remember something. Let people, even though you don't want to accept anything from them, dude, remember, in a way, you're giving them an opportunity to show you how much they care. Because, dude, nobody wants to go to your funeral, when that time comes. Nobody wants to go to your funeral and go, damn, I wish I could have done something. Look what you get to do. You are giving them an opportunity to show you, while you're going through a struggle, how much they care about you. And if you want to switch it, which Les Brown says, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that gave me that opportunity to go, wow, okay, cool. I'm good with that. I'm giving these guys an opportunity to do something for me, which in turn, allows me to help them feel good. And that was really cool. And Dan, I'm gonna invite you to take that. We all want to show you what you mean to. This is an edition, family edition, but also an umps, perspective on the game. But I want to switch that on you and let you know. Let us show you what you mean to us, because I'm gonna tell you right now, dude. Going to the World Series without you is not the same. And I've been around since 2013. You've been there since then, and it would not be the same without you. So let us. If I see you, you better not be eating alone, ever. So
I'm all right with that, though. I'm okay.
Cool. Yeah, JB. So I know we lost you for a second, man, but any final word? I know we're getting close to the end. It's an hour and 49 minutes, man, but you want to touch on anything? Joe, Donnie?
I'll just say something. You're a little digitalized, but I'll touch on everybody. I talked about the family. I talked about Dan. I saw Lyle Reyes on here. I watched his son grow up literally at the fields. Yeah. And Lyle is a classic example of what we need more of in this sport. And that is a giver, right? Lyle's a guy that I haven't seen Lyle ever take a swing. And I've been involved in the sport since, 2002, whatever. I know I used to play back then, but ever since PS.com started, that guy has been running a team. And it seems like every time he finds these great players and introduces them to the sport, some big team comes and takes his guys away, right? And he just rebuilds and he keeps going and going and going. That guy is a legend in my mind, because it would have been easy for him to just call it quits and walk away. And now we're down a team, and all the stuff, all the people he brings into the sport would never be introduced to the sport. So that's on Lyle.
Hey, real
Mark
quickly,
Jackson,
Lyle.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jeff.
Lyle was just saying he appreciates your words, man.
There's a lot.
It means a lot. I appreciate it. So.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, so I'm sorry. You guys are breaking up a little bit on me. I'm trying to get on my computer, but I'm on the phone. So, but Lyle's that guy. Like he is like what we need more of in this sport. If we have 50 Lyles, we're going to be good. If we only have one Lyle, we're done. You know, so.
Awesome compliment, man. Lyle, I just wanted to bring you back because I know that.
Am I still good to talk, Trini?
Yeah, you're good, brother. Go ahead.
Okay, Mark Jackson. So Mark is a guy that like I used to not like Mark because he was such a competitor on the field. I mean, hardcore in the Alliance, man, we used to battle. But then I got to know Mark and I realized, man, like as tough as a competitor he is, he's even more like dedicated to being your friend. And he's one of the few guys that will send me a personal message, not one of those group messages like hey guys, happy Father's Day. He's like, hey Jeff Blair, happy Father's Day. You're a good man. I hope your wife's doing well. Like he does that every year. I mean, and when his kid went through, he's going through and stuff. It's just like he like salt of the earth guy. So your picks to talk about like today that you introduced on here are like, that's the reason I'm involved with police softball, right? Because I don't have a team anymore. Right? I'm involved, but for guys like Lyle and guys like Mark and guys like, you know, Potter. And then, you know, you got like freaking, I said Babe Ruth on here, Donnie Meyer, who's the like, if
yes.
PS.com had
That's
like,
a great picture, Donnie.
like what was it? NBA's got a player, right? Don't they have like, who is that on the NBA logo? Who is that?
Jerry West.
Jerry West, right? Jerry West NBA logo. Like Donnie Meyer is our logo of police softball, right? That guy is like
Absolutely.
a gentleman, nicest guy in the world, best player. Like you could do a whole segment on Donnie Meyer. So I just, you guys did a really good job of picking your guests today. And I really enjoyed it. I was a little late. And to have Michelle come on here and chime on about how important this is. I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, Lou Dell, I guarantee that she leans on her softball connections more than you guys would ever imagine to get her through all this kind of stuff. So great episode. I appreciate it, Trini, and I'll leave it at that.
Man,
Thanks,
thank you very
Jeff.
much, man.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much for popping on. I know at the last minute and joining us. I'll tell you what, it's a testament to our subject matter and to the content to be able to have a podcast that just started up that, you know, consistently has, you know, 30 to 40 viewers. And we're talking like for 2 hours. This is a long form podcast because I don't want to cut it off. There's no reason to. You know, the hardcore guys are still here. And after 2 hours to still have 30 plus guys or gals, you know, still tuning in, that's a testament to, you know, what you guys created, you know, Jeff and Dell, and then ultimately what we all support in this circuit, you know. So, you know, we all say it all the time, but we can't say it enough that we appreciate the platform that you guys gave us to be able to, you know, have this outlet that is so important for us. I mean, one of the things that we're trying to do with this Keepers of the Peace conference is to save some first responders' lives. We're going to get them with the cool breakout sessions, but we're going to hit them with some mental health stuff once they get here. And, you know, I'm super excited about it. But again, this is my therapy, like I talk about on our platform in the message board on ps.com. If you haven't gone there, you need to check out, you know, ps.com. We have a wonderful site with a wonderful message board that allows us to communicate with each other, keeps you up to date with everything that's going on within our circuit. But, you know, being able to have this outlet is so important. This is definitely my therapy. I know that we all share that same, you know, that same feeling of even Dan, you know, like we're talking about, you know, being an ump, Dan. I mean, I know that when you come out here, man, you love this, you know, you love this sport, you love what you do. And I have to imagine it's a therapy for you also.
Oh yeah. I mean, you get out there and it's, I don't think of anything else. It's a getaway. It really is. Like a baseball with I have a 13-year-old. Baseball with him. For those 2 hours we're on the field, it's about those kids. Well, when I'm out there, you know what? I know what you guys all do. I've had many conversations with catchers. You see the worst of the worst, the dirty this, the this and that. And so, you know what? So, yeah, you're right. I'm going to hustle a little bit harder for you guys than I would for a civilian, because I don't want to – that play at second base, I don't want it coming back and haunting me 7 innings later or something, you know. So it's it truly is. You know, the family thing, my wife, she's great about it. She's like, I get it. I understand, you know. At first, maybe she wasn't. I don't know. But now she's like, hey, have a good weekend. And she went to Florida with us, too. Same thing. You got 2 days. After that, it's back to the family. It really was.
Very cool. Well, I'll tell you what, I know we're getting ready to wrap it up. I'll give you guys that last segment. One thing I do want to give a shout out to is our Viciously Loyal sponsor. It's going to be coming up. He says, a handsome shirt, beautiful man. I appreciate that, George. George and Annalisa, thank you so much for that. I'm used to that. I'm surprised nobody said anything about the hair, but I'm sure it's coming. But I'll tell you what, Frank says it's just getting bigger, Trini. Great job, my brother. Thank you very much for that, man. Jeff says he lost us. You know, his computer went down. So either way, man, thank you, Jeff, for joining on at the last second. Hey, we got our subject matter when it came to family, you know, when and how police softball positively affects our family. And then we have an ump's perspective. Donnie, got any final words on those two subject matters?
The family thing was big with Metro back in the day. We used to play in Jacksonville, and I would call up months in advance to make sure that we got the 5 rooms that were right out the back door of your room was in the pool area. And we'd have 20 little rugrats running around, and the parents would take turns watching the kids so the other parents can go off and get something to eat alone for a couple minutes or walk down to the beach. And we'd have 2 couples there with 20 kids trying to keep the little ones that can't swim out of the pool, throwing the big ones in the pool so they don't bother the little ones. But Metro was a family for me for 30 years. I played until Red passed in 2012. Some of the guys on that team, we played together for 25 years, 7, 8 of us. There's probably 16 guys from the teams that I played on with Metro that are in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So it was a great bunch of guys. We made everybody that played together made each other better. It wasn't one guy in the whole. It was everybody to win what we did for as long as we did. And then, you know, the first time we come out west, our team is averaging 45 years old. And it's the first time Potter saw us. Most of our guys are 40 to 45 years old, and we're playing, you know, all of these young kids out on the West Coast for the first time. And it would have been nice earlier if this would started out 10 years earlier, what it would have looked like.
Yeah, I hear you.
Did Spinelli play with you guys that year too? Dan
Who?
Spinelli?
Yeah.
Dan Spinelli. Yeah.
Yep.
Seems like he's like 8 feet tall or something.
He's 8.5 now. He's grown since he's got out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Yeah, Donnie, man, thank you so much for joining us. I know that Agent 23 just signed on and said, great job, Trini. We all know what Mario Foster does, you know, representing our circuit. And, you know, ultimately, it was a very prideful service member of our country and of our community. And man, Mario, thank you for joining us. You know, say hi to Jennifer for us. We're going to get Mario on the show for you know, sometime soon. But Donnie, hey man, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Appreciate
Definitely,
the invite.
yeah, man. Hey, I always think back to our conversations in Vegas, and I really hope we're going to be doing a podcast from there. I spoke to Ryan, of course. I know Jeff's on board with being able to highlight, you know, this podcast there from the tournament. So I look forward to be able to talk to everybody in Vegas, and definitely you're going to be one of those guys, man. So thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you. Thanks,
right,
Joe. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, man. Hey, Dan, any final words on the family edition and on or you know, the ump's perspective?
That family edition, I think was awesome. When my boy was younger, I would take him out there, and being the UIC or being an umpire, I didn't have to worry about it. You know, guys knew who I were. It was a good environment for him to be in. Up until probably about 2 months ago, he wanted to be a law enforcement, and I would tell him, "Let's go talk to these guys. Talk to these guys. They'll tell you what you got to do when you get to a certain age." And it's just You know, I hear from people now. You know, I'll put something about the blue family on Facebook or something, and I have people private message me. You know, you're part of that too. I'm like, I don't carry a gun, I don't carry a badge, but after tonight, I do. I feel like part of that blue family. It's it's a cool thing. It really is.
Good, because you are.
Dan, before Trini gets rid of you here, I wanted to say something to you while we still got you on the screen. You know, I mentioned earlier everything you've done for the circuit, and you know, as far as helping out when someone's in need, and your raffles and all that other stuff, and what you do when you're traveling around and you're you know, you humping all these games. One thing I didn't mention that I thought of after the fact was, from what I've been told, you're like the mastermind behind this new team you put together, the Code 3. So not only is he doing all this other stuff, but he also just put together a law enforcement team to travel around the circuit, and him and a few other guys got together to do that. So not only that, but he's also helping organize the team and run the team and get them moving and traveling around the country to support the circuit in another way, on top of everything else he does, which I think is awesome.
It's a great
and,
point.
And one other thing about your umpiring, one thing I forgot to mention earlier also about that was that, you know, one thing I think that separates the good umps from the bad is the consistency. And I think if the more consistent an ump is, you know, whether either team likes it or not, or is used to that call, as long as he's consistent, I think people respect that in an umpire. And I think you got that, which is a great thing, you know, as far as an umpire goes.
Man, what a great point.
There was a guy that plays with you guys. I don't know if he plays your middle infield. A lot of tattoos on his arms.
It's Jerry.
Scary Jerry.
Was he in the military?
Yes.
So I think I had you guys last year early in the morning, right, on Sunday.
I believe so, yeah.
And after the game, he had said that to me, and my thought is, a stranger, I don't know him, never met him, comes up to you and tells you that your strike zone is very consistent. You know, kind of like a pat on the back.
Yeah.
You know, that's a huge thing. I think people, you know, I like it. You know, it comes, you know, somebody that I don't know comes up to me and says, "Hey, you know what? You were consistent," and that's huge for me.
It's the biggest thing. It's in my mind. It's the biggest thing an umpire can have. Is
absolutely excellent point, Joe. I'm really glad you brought that up, because if there was one thing I could say about an umpire that I respect, that you can't argue, even if it doesn't fit what you believe in, you know, whether it be the arc or, you know, the speed or whatever, call them both ways. That's all you care about, man. Just I tell my wife this sometimes, and I think she might be off the show. I'm like, dude, chick, just let me know where I stand, man. Don't switch it up on me. I just got used to this, and now you're switching it up on me the next day. It's the same thing with an umpire. It's like, dude, just let me know where I stand. We'll play within your rules. Just don't switch that shit up on me. Excuse my language. Just don't switch it up on me, like, you know, mid-game or anything.
Halfway through a game, don't change your strike zone because this guy's getting beat up and he wants you to change the strike zone. Don't. Like I said, I got some new umpires. I try to do that to them. Hey, look, and we got some other things in the works, so we'll.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I don't know if I'm gonna have to sleep in the guest room tonight, but it's all right. Be all right. I'll recover.
You'll be all right, man.
Yeah, I'll be all right. Hey, Dan, thank you so much for joining us, man. And I'm happy that you were able to feel what it is through this podcast that we all feel about you and we talk about. And it's neat that you're able to see the comments and to hear it firsthand, because that's how we all feel about you, man. Thank you so much for being a part of our circuit and a part of our family. You are that. Okay.
Perfect. You guys take care. Be safe.
We'll
all
see
right,
you,
brother. Thank you, man.
See ya. Yes.
Thank you, man. Hey, Joe, I know that, you know, we have 24 viewers left. I'm going to ask these 24 viewers to do me a favor, man. I want to make sure and give you, you know, some serious props. You're a supervisor in your department. You've worked how many days now?
Tonight was 39.
I'm going to tell you, man, it doesn't matter that I've been a policeman for so long and that I've done what you do. In the end, you're keeping the peace and the security of what it is that we enjoy in this country. And I know personally, through some videos that I found online about what you guys are going through in your particular area, in your department, that is amazing. And we're talking about being a policeman in a vest on the line of these protests that end up a lot of times turning into riots, and open carry guys out there, feet, like close within 10 feet of your line. And the stress and the anxiety that comes with, action beats reaction, and you're out there holding that line. And I want to tell you, from me to you, not off the air, on the air, I want to tell you how much I appreciate your service and the service of every officer that's working out there, on your department, man. Thank you truly for that, man. I really appreciate that, dude. It means a lot to me. And it's no BS, man. Thank you very much for that.
Appreciate the kind words, man. Appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. Stu says, is live streaming tournaments in the future? It's a great question. I see it happening, man, where we can, I know that we were invited to New York. Because of my underlying conditions, I elected not to go, but we were definitely planning on having the podcast, streaming some games from there. I know that I'll be able to make St. Louis, and then also, of course, October in Vegas. But yes, we definitely are interested in streaming some of these games onto our our forum that we have here. So, definitely, Stu, we're looking into that, man. So thank you very much for that, because it's definitely in the works. So Joe, any final words? Family edition, perspective.
I think overall this was a great episode, great guests, and from top to bottom, from beginning to end. So I think anyone who watches this or was on with us during the podcast, or maybe watches it later, is going to think the same thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I'm happy for this. And my wife just sent me a wonderful message. Never sleep in the guest room, honey. I think I'm all right. See how that goes. Joe, thank you very much for joining us, brother. I really appreciate you.
Thanks, bud.
All right, man. Hey, so thank you guys for joining in so much. Don't forget about our Keepers of the Peace conference that's coming up in April. I guarantee you will not leave the same way that you came to the conference, man. Thank you so much. You want to support us? It's 283 days away. 283 days away. You want to talk about showing some support for your brother and in this circuit, man. Check out this conference. It would be great to have your support. Don't forget about Viciously Loyal. We're all viciously loyal about something. Support these people. They're homegrown San Antonio officers. And, it would be a wonderful thing if you showed support, went to their site, went to their Facebook page, liked it, followed them. You're going to see more of them on the show. And again, hopefully we'll work out this big announcement and make it happen. So, hey, thank you so much for joining us. We really am excited. I was excited about this program, and it ended up not disappointing, man. Don't forget that I've got your 6.